Ready?
I'm ready, if you guys are ready. Hello, Wessex.
Hi, all right.
Thank you very much for coming on.
That's all right, you're welcome.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Who you are?
My name's Wessex Purchase. I live in Wedmore, Latcham, just outside of Wedmore. Known Angie for 25 years, is it?
Longer than that.
It probably is, yeah.
Yeah, we've got lots of connections in lots of different ways, really.
We won't go into that.
Oh, sorry, I slipped that out. What have I done? Oh,
Knocked
my band down. So, where do you want to start? First of all, how do we know each other? Horses?
Horses, yeah. We were.
Was horses how we first met? I'm not sure.
I don't know. We are talking 25 years ago, and I've got the memory span of a gnat. So.
Really? Oh dear, this is not looking good, Mike.
Yeah, no, I can't remember. It must have been at some village do or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was probably a fundraising for something that we met,
certain.
and then we met out on horses.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
we've been horsey connected for all that time, really.
Well, you still are. I'm not.
Yeah, I know.
No,
do you miss them?
Yeah, I don't miss the work and I don't miss the cost of it, but yeah, I do miss the horses. Well, I miss my horse, put it that way. Yeah, because you get quite a connection with them over the years, don't you? And then when you lose them, it's a bit sad, but yeah, I do miss it, yeah.
I know, we're on my mare's she's not very well at all, so I'm fighting with her to get her well, but it's like...
I think it was actually harder than having a dog put down, to be honest with you.
Well, it is. The contact that you have with your horses and there's a lot of trust there, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you're sat on their back and they look after you.
Yeah,
or don't.
Yeah.
How many times have you been in the ditch?
I ended up with 2 broken ribs, and I think I was probably over 25 years of having the horses, doing what we were doing. I was very, very lucky.
You were?
Yeah, I consider I got away with it.
I fractured my hip, wrist, fingers numerous times. What else have I broken? I've broken, God knows. I've done
We had
ribs.
seen some serious accidents, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Anyway, let's not go there.
But we've enjoyed it while we've done it
We
at
did.
the same time.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Really nice. So would you ever have another horse when you retire from work?
Ooh, would I? If I had the money and I could afford to pay someone to look after them and all the rest of it, yes, I probably would. Time-wise, I'd never had so much time on my hands. Now, you know, you don't realise how much time they take up, you know, mucking out, cleaning, all the rest of it. In fact, sometimes when I finish work now, I go home and I sort of sit down and I think, you know, where the hell did I find the time to do it? Because not only was that, I was running the airfield at the same time as well as a hobby. It's, God knows where the time went.
Because I think that's the thing, it's that commitment, isn't it? You can never have a lie-in.
No.
We never have a lie-in.
No. 6 o'clock in the morning.
You're up.
Muck out.
Yeah. Exercise if you have to do it, because you can't do it in the last part of the day, particularly in the winter. Do a quick bit of exercise, get them back in, feed them all, blah, 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 and then go home and then come back and repeat. The
trouble is with it, the thing that I always found, I found it very satisfying to make the stables up and clean them up and get them all looking nice and that. And then I go to work and come back in the evening if it was wet and they were in, and you look at it and you think, oh, for God's sake. And you've got to start all over again. Well,
we're fortunate because we've got all-weather turnout, so ours are out all the time. And they go in and out. We've just got a new horse, actually.
Yeah.
And she goes in the stables. The horses have always had access to the stables and outdoors. She goes in the stables and does all her business in the stables. And it's I've got to clean the stables out now, as well as the yard, as well as the turnout. It's like she's a bit of a mucky pup.
Yeah, Roxana's ponies, he was as good as gold. He wouldn't make a mess in the stable, nor would the cob that we had, Duke. He was really good. But the 3 that I had, or the 2 that I had, they immediately, as soon as you put a fresh bed of straw down, they go and have a pee on it.
Yeah. It's interesting, really. So when you last bought a pair of shoes for your horse, how much were they?
£85.
Yeah.
What are they now?
20.
Oh, yeah.
How often do you have to change?
6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah.
The new horse doesn't have shoes. Hallelujah.
What does that mean, though? Surely they need shoes.
No, they don't. Well, this horse has never had shoes, and she's 16.
Right, okay.
She's never had shoes.
Doesn't need shoes then.
And
Depends
our little pony, Charlie, doesn't have shoes. Well, actually, she's got quite tough feet, so she's used to it. But I think when you've got a cobby style horse and it's never had shoes, I think they just get conditioned to not having shoes. You're not stupid about where you take them.
Well, I suppose if you think about it, in the wild, they were running around up on the top of rocky eating scrub. We've ruined horses, really, to be honest with you, because they were never designed to eat grass, were they? They were designed to eat scrub and rubbish. That's why we have to have their teeth done and filed back and, all the rest of that, and put shoes on them and stuff like that. In their natural state, they were actually very hardy. We've spoiled them.
But I think one of the things about them is they are a really loyal friend, if you see what I'm saying in that sense.
Yeah.
Really loyal.
Very much so. As I said, it's difficult when we had to sell. I do remember we had Duke, Cobb. Yeah. We sold him. He was great. He was the most loving, kind little animal that we've ever had. He was really, really good, very, very trustworthy and all the rest of it. But he was too big for Roxana, and we had to part with him. Absolutely broke her heart.
Yeah.
And actually he's still alive.
Is he really?
Yes.
Wow.
The lady that's got him, she bought him off of us, and she said, if ever you want to come down, you can come down and see him. And we keep meaning to go and see him.
Where is he?
East Brent, behind the Brent Knoll. Yeah.
How old is he now then? He must be
24. Is he 24?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he was about 4 when we had him, and we had him for about, what did we have him? 6 years, 7 years, something like that. Yeah, it was a shame we had to part with him, to be honest with you, because I could ride him as well, so it was a bit easier to exercise him, But the pony that we got afterwards was absolutely fantastic. He was lovely, but the trouble is, it got iffy on the roads around here, to be honest with you. Yeah. And times change. You move on, don't you?
Please don't start me on the roads, because actually, as you can imagine, on the road outside our house, where some people are absolutely fantastic. You cannot fault them. But there's the others that forget you have got an animal that is unpredictable, that at any point could step out to the side of you and cause a nasty accident.
It was easier for me because I was on a bigger horse, so you're above the vehicle.
Yeah.
So you, in your head, you think, if anything goes wrong, I'm going to go over the top of it and it'll be all right.
Hopefully.
With Roxana with her little pony, I totally understood. She had a few new misses on the road. Yeah. We had someone clip a stirrup once, door mirror. Yeah.
I've had somebody scream out of their window and try and hit the horse. And you think, why would you do that? So fortunately, and this is the bit that I'm going to miss when she has to go and Muffin has to go, which I think will be sooner than later, is that I can walk her in front of any vehicle and she'll stand her ground. And sometimes I've had to do that to stop cars and lorries and tractors. The tractor boys are really pretty good. But just to stop them to slow down, especially when I've got a youngster on the inside, it's like, come on, please, 60 miles an hour is not a safe speed to go past a horse.
The best thing to take with you, though?
Go on.
Hunting crop. I took someone's windscreen wiper out with a lash one day.
Did you? I'm not very good with...
Flicked it out.
I've got...
Took his
I've only got a little one.
Because he was so close. I said, come on, move back. And he went, no. I just flicked it out. Caught his windscreen wiper and pulled his windscreen wiper off.
Oh, dear. But that didn't go down very well, did it?
What was he going to do?
Well, exactly. You shouldn't have been that close. And that's the thing, isn't
absolutely.
it? I worry as much for them as I do for us, if you see what I'm saying. And especially when you've got one of the kids with you and you're out on you're walking down the road and that worries me slightly. But
they also don't understand, Ange, that half a ton of animal through the windscreen is not a good idea.
But we do, because Dave and I were having... I was going out one night... This is years and years and years ago, and somebody in their wisdom decided to move their cattle, who are black, and it was pitch black out there. I don't know if you remember this. And basically, this kid had just passed their driving test. I felt so sorry for them. And this cow literally ran into their car through their windscreen, and this kid had a car in his windscreen. It was unbelievable. And you think it was an awful accident, obviously. Police and ambulances and all of that were involved.
Well, there was the one at the bottom of Blakeway where someone got killed.
Really?
Yeah, went through the windscreen of a car. Anyway, that's...
But it happens.
Yeah.
And it's called life, isn't it? But fortunately, you and I have not experienced that.
No.
So anyway, so that's the horses.
Yeah.
So what else?
Airplanes, yeah. Yeah.
Do you still do it?
No, I don't. No, I gave it up in the when the horses came in, late 90s. I suppose it goes back to when I was at school. I didn't like school. I won't be told anything. You know that. I didn't go a lot on school. I was quite intelligent. I wouldn't say that I wasn't intelligent or anything like that, but I just dropped out of school. I wasn't interested. I had no interest in the classes and stuff like that. Apart from history and stuff like that, I was quite interested in. But the rest of it, I just like, what's the point? And then when I left school, I grabbed the first job that came along, which was stupid, really, as a sheet metal worker. And I did a year at Western College, but I did learn how to weld and how to use machines and stuff like that. And then I sort of sat back and thought, I always wanted to fly. So I applied to the RAF, were taking people on, and British Airways were taking people on, pilots, and doing pilot training. So I applied to the RAF and I applied to British Airways to go on a training thing. And because I left school without, I didn't even find out whether I got an English O-level. I took it and left before the results came out, and I really didn't give a damn about it, to be honest with you. Anyway, both of them sent me back a very nice letter. One said that you could probably be a chef or you could be a steward or something like that, but with no qualifications, there's no way we're going to let you loose in one of our airplanes. So I thought, okay, sod you. So I did it myself.
Wow. So
I just saved the money up and took my pilot's license. I enjoyed the training as much as I did the flying. I absolutely loved it. Bizarrely enough, I'm not very good at maths. I'm a bit dyslexic with numbers, but I got through all the navigation and everything with flying colours. And Roxana says that's because you were interested in it. Yeah, not because, you couldn't do it. It's because you were interested in it. So you made yourself do it, and you weren't interested in school. So, so I took the pilot's license, and then I ended up buying an aeroplane, and that's a route nobody should ever go down because it is just such a big money pit.
I was going to say that must have cost a fortune.
Well, I was doing it on a budget, and I was very, very lucky, really, that Roxana sat back, watched it all going on, and didn't say too much. A lot of people wouldn't have put up with it, to be honest with you. So I went on bought an aeroplane, kept it at Westbury Sub Mendip, flew it out the railway line at Westbury Sub Mendip, and then I set up when Westbury Sub Mendip got a little bit. There was a few buildings went up around it, and it got a bit tighter. And I thought, I'm not happy landing here, to be honest with you. So then I met a farmer up on the Mendips and set up an airfield on the Mendips, and I ran that for 20 years. And then eventually the farmer passed the farm over to his son, and I had to move out. But it was great, and it was all done legitimately. It was all done above board, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Where did you go?
Any excuse.
Really?
Yeah. Cup of tea down to Compton Abbas. Fly down to Exeter, have a cup of tea. Oh, we need a cup of tea. We go down to Dunkeswell. We go up to Shobdon. Went to the Jersey Air Rally. Flew over to Jersey. That was quite something. Flying in a single engine aircraft when you can't see any land below you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very scary.
There's a great friend of mine. I won't mention names. Sadly, he's passed. He died on a motorbike accident. But he took his pilot's license after I took mine, and we used to do a little bit of flying together. And I wanted to fly a tailwheel aeroplane because I hadn't flown one before, so I wanted to fly one with a tailwheel with a wheel at the back. So he said, "Oh, I'll take you out, and we'll go down. We'll fly down to Dunkeswell, and we'll just." We'll go down there and we'll practice some landings down there. I said, yeah, okay then, all right. So I took off from Franklin's Field, which was the airstrip that I used to have. Took off from there. We flying down. We were over Taunton. It was about 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet over Taunton. I had engine failure.
Oh, no. Shit.
And I thought, shit. Oh, sorry. I thought,
don't worry, I swear.
Big problem. The training that they give you is so good, you become a robot. You automatically go, okay, let's look for a field, get the glide angle right on this aircraft to get our best glide, our best distance, our best glide speed and all the rest of it. Pick a field out. Yeah, I got that field there. And then you turn around and think, right, why did the airplane engine stop? What was the problem? And my mate's laughing his head off because he'd shut it down. He thought it was funny. It killed him.
Oh, my word.
Well, it was the prop was windmilling, so I just pulled the mixture back on and it fired up again. And when we landed, he said, you worry too much. And I said, what if it hadn't started? But you can put it down, and I'm sure we'd have walked away from it. But at the end of the day, I was furious.
But there was somebody around here that used to do practice there. They used to do lessons or whatever it was around here, and they used to make them cut the engine. And
Well, they always, you do, yeah.
Oh,
It's all part of the training, isn't it?
Part of the training.
I wish somebody had told me that at the time, because at that time I panicked. I thought, oh my gosh, these people are going to crash.
No, you have to be aware of it. They used to do spin training. I don't think they do spin training now. So you put the aeroplane, you'd stall the aircraft, let a wing drop, put it into a spin, and then you are taught how to recover from the spin. But now they teach you how not to get into a spin in the first place. But the thing is, I can't understand why they do that, because you still can get into a spin.
So you still need the capacity to be able to get out of it.
In theory, if you fly as a VFR pilot, you should not fly into cloud. But if you're playing around, if someone's playing around a bit overconfident, and it's a bit of there's a few cumulus clouds about, nice day, and they do find themselves getting into some hazy weather, some hazy, bad visibility, they could stall the aircraft very, very easily. So they would need to know how to get out of a spin. The law says that you don't go into cloud. Yeah, right. The law says a lot of things, and a lot of people don't take any notice of it. So I can't understand why they did that. They obviously had the reasons for it, but no, flying was good. I enjoyed it.
Would you ever want to do that?
So I've actually done flying lessons.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
nice one.
Before COVID, so 2018, 2019, I think I got to about 20 hours of flying lessons.
So you soloed then?
No, I was just about to solo. So you have to do the medical. And I, for some reason, just refused to do the medical. That was the bit I got to, as I needed to do that.
Yeah.
Which is paperwork, it's admin, it's phoning the doctors, booking an appointment, all of that. And that was the bit I got to, and COVID happened and didn't get back into it. And then last year, I did a lesson down at Dunk as well. I didn't enjoy it as much, weirdly. I thought it was going to be a bit of a spark to get back into it. And actually, if anything, it was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. It's a bit more scary. And it's so expensive. Yeah. It's so expensive to learn.
I've sort of been there and done it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't amass a huge amount of hours, only about 250 hours, which is not a lot.
No, it's not for however long you've...
No, but the problem is, if you can't afford to do it, don't do it, because you're not safe. You need to fly. If you were going to fly, you need to fly at least a minimum of once a month, if not 3 or 4 hours a month, and I was probably, after I moved to the airfield, to the airstrip. Well, there was a few accidents involved in this as well, man. I had a lovely little aeroplane at Westbury Submender, and it got smashed up because someone was interested in buying a share in it, and I was happy to sell a share in it because I was struggling to run it myself. And he checked out. He made a silly mistake. I don't hold it against him. I only had third-party insurance cover on it, of course, because it was very expensive at the time. And he wrote the thing off. So I lost out on that one. And then I joined, when I set the airstrip up at Franklinsfield, we had a couple of aeroplanes up there that I was involved in partnerships with. But it all got a bit, when you got 5 or 6 people in a group, you'll have one that flies it all the time, a couple that keep their license up, a couple of people won't be told anything and think they know it all. Of the 2 aircraft we had out there, both of them got smashed up. And it's a shame. It's a real... And both of them were stupid mistakes. I'm not going to go into great detail on it, but they were stupid mistakes. They smashed them up. And I got a little bit fed up with it. And I thought, do you know what? Actually, I'll just run the strip. I can't be bothered to get involved with the aircraft anymore. So I just sort of drifted away from it, really, and then just ran the airstrip itself, which was fun. But, that's another 2.5 hour story.
But it's a little bit like horses, though, isn't it? You've got to be able to afford, we had the vet out this Sunday. You've got to be able to afford...
the unexpected.
Yeah. It's not, okay, you can budget for your shoes and you can budget for your food and you can budget for your stabling and you can budget for this and that. But when the vet comes in and you've got like £1,000 bill, it's a lot of money and you've got to find that.
Well, you've got exactly the same thing with light aircraft. You've got You know what your hangarage is, you know what your fuel bills are, you know what your insurance is, you know what your cost of your tyres are, your run-of-the-mill maintenance, your annual checks and all the rest of it. You know what all that is. But there is a notification that comes out, which is an AD, which is an aerial directive. And back along, classic example, probably back in the 80s, I'm talking now, Piper Cherokees, a couple of Piper Cherokees in America had main wing spar failures. So they had checked them and they found corrosion in the main wing spar. So they put an aerial directive out on all Piper Cherokees that they are grounded until they're inspected. And to inspect them, you've got to take half the airplane apart to inspect them.
The cost of that is
They had the same thing with engines. Someone lost a prop. I don't know where it was. Could have been France or something like that. Prop sheared off. So when the CAA looked into it, or French Civil Aviation Authority or whatever looked into it, they found that there was corrosion in the end of the crankshaft. All the engines, serial number, had to have the props took off and the cranks took out and have them x-rayed and all the rest of it to check that they were all right. All of a sudden, bang, you're it with a bill for, £6,000-7,000.
Wow.
If there's a
and of course you can't fly until that's done. And if there's
aircraft
hundreds of aircraft that have got to be tested, it's not going to happen tomorrow. You could be waiting.
No, it's an expensive hobby, and it was. I did it on a budget. People think, "Oh, you must be loaded. You flew airplanes." No, I wasn't. Well, I just did it on a budget. I just didn't go to the pub. I spent all my money on airplanes. It's simple as that.
But
Same with the horses,
Alongside that, though, you were also in a band.
I'm still in a band.
You're still in a band. I thought the band had kind of.
Can I plug this now?
Yeah, you carry on.
Okay. April the 4th, Wedmore Village Hall. We're doing a prostate awareness thing,
Really?
70s disco and band. And I'm going to sell you some tickets.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for tickets to be printed now. No, it should be good. Yeah, no, still in a band.
And why prostate cancer?
Well...
I'd like to go back to the band, but why prostate cancer?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Right, a couple of years ago, my brother unfortunately died of complications with prostate cancer. He didn't actually die of prostate cancer. He died of pneumonia, but it was brought on because of chemotherapy, being in hospital and all the rest of it. He had quite a late diagnosis. At the time, Roxanne said to me, you need to go and get PSA test done. So I said, yeah, okay, all right, I'll have it done. So I had it done. It came back clear and there was no problem at all with it, which is it's the PSA test, just a blood test. So
I've got to stop you there.
Yeah,
right?
go on.
Because my ignorance is I didn't know how they did it. So I had all these imaginings going on in my head about how do they check a man's prostate? Do they put their fingers in places that we don't want to put
They
our
do,
fingers?
but not initially.
Right, okay.
If you have an issue, then they
do
will
that. Right,
yeah.
okay.
And this is something, actually, I'm glad to do this because people need to be aware of it. Men need to be aware of it. So I had a PSA blood test and there was no problem. And then probably about 6 months later, I was due a cholesterol test because of my age and all the rest of it.
Yep.
And, so Roxanne said, well, why don't you have another blood test? Because it's coming up to the anniversary of your brother's death. So if you do that, you'll have one every year and then you won't forget to do it. And I thought, yeah, okay, all right, fair enough. But I had one 6 months ago. Well, it doesn't matter. Go and get one. Ask them if they'll do it. So I asked the nurse when she did the cholesterol test if she'd do another PSA test. And she said, why was that? Because I won't say they're reluctant, but sometimes they need a little bit of a poke to get them to do it, And I said, well, because my brother died of prostate cancer and I just thought every year I'd have it done. She said, yeah, fine, okay, all right, we'll do it. Anyway, they did it. A couple of weeks later, I get a phone call from the doctor. PSA levels are high. I think we need you to come in and have a chat. So then we went down the route of what you were saying with the fingers, things like that. Okay, so then we went down the route of that. And they said, not quite sure, but maybe. So I had to have an MRI. And it worked in a 2-week cycle. Everything seemed to be, 2 weeks after going to see the doctor, I had 2 weeks had the MRI. And then I had to have, then it came. And I knew in the back of my head, I was expecting it. I was totally expecting it. I was very cool, very calm with it. When I first found out, it hit me a little bit hard for about literally 5 minutes. And then I thought, do you know what? There's nothing I can do about this. And the thing is, I have caught it early. And if I hadn't had that test done, and I'm 2 years down the line, then I really could be in have a serious problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we did the biopsies, did all the rest of the bits and pieces, and I was extremely lucky that they caught it very, very early. And they said that if they caught it any earlier, they probably would have monitored it. Anyway, they gave me a session of radical radiotherapy, which was 5 sessions of radiotherapy over a 2-week period. And then I had a checkup last beginning of December, another PSA test. My PSA levels more than halved, so they were delighted with that. They tell me I'm clear. And I said, really? Seriously? Is it clear? And they said, yes, it's gone. I said, well, I haven't got cancer. And they said, no, it's gone, it's done, it's dusted. I said, is it going to come back? And they said, well, it can come back with anybody. But they're now doing a 3-month PSA blood test for the next year. And then I think it drops down to 6 months. And then they just monitor you every year or something like that. So, I consider myself extremely lucky. And I really heartfelt mean that. I was extremely lucky. And I don't want people to say, oh, God, here's Wessex coming. He's going to start talking about prostate cancer and PSA tests. I don't really want people to think that. But men do need to be aware. If you're over 40 years old, you need to start thinking about it. If you're over 50, you definitely need to be having PSA tests. And I think you should be having one annually, and then it can be caught. Obviously, it runs in my family. Does it? I don't know. But I was told that it doesn't necessarily run in the family, and it doesn't necessarily give you any symptoms either. So, all done and dusted now. I've got another PSA test at the end of this month. Yeah, hopefully the figures will be down even more or a similar sort of level. And then that's it. Done, dusted.
So what's your level supposed to be when they do a PSA test? Because I don't know if you know that.
It's really down to your age. I don't really want to quote figures because if I quote figures, it'll put the wrong idea into people's head. It depends. The PSA test is not 100%.
Right, okay.
The
rest of it is.
The internal examination is not 100%. Right, okay. An MRI scan is. Right, okay. But they're not going to do screening by giving people MRI scans.
Dave's never had one.
Well, he should.
Well, you can nag him for that one,
really
please.
Should.
Have you thought about your PSA?
How old are you?
He's only 34.
Okay, well, I think at 40 you ought to have. Well, yeah. There's someone that I know who was 46 when he was diagnosed with it. Yeah, and he had quite an advanced stage of it. Gosh, yeah.
Well, I know another friend of ours has got it, and is still having treatment for it. But and I know somebody else has had treatment for it and then had to go back and have more treatment for it because it didn't clear up. So has your dad ever had?
No,
Does your dad ever talk about it? Is this a thing that men don't talk about until somebody like you comes along and goes?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. I think my grandfather, I think, died of some bone cancer type disease, but it had spread into my brother's bones. And that's why it had gone so far. So it wasn't talked about in the very early 80s. So there's a pretty good chance that that's what he had, and it had gone on from there. Like I say, if it's caught early and they deal with it, they can. There's lots of things they can do. They can do radiotherapy, depending on how far it's gone and how quickly they catch it.
Yeah.
They can give you hormone treatment. They can take it out. They can inject a radioactive pill into it, which as it decomposes it,
Gets rid of it.
Didn't fancy that.
Does it? I'm now going to ask a real girl question and a real ignorant question. Does it actually then affect your love life after that? Because it used to be that people would have prostate cancer and then they couldn't get an erection or they couldn't make love to their partner.
I'm not going to get into that, to be honest with you, Ange, because it affects everybody different ways. Right, okay. Has it affected me? No, it hasn't. No.
Yeah.
But as I said, I was very, very lucky, caught it very, very early. So,
but that's the bonuses of catching it early, isn't it? Because the chances are you're going to get less symptoms than side effects of it.
And that's why you need to do PSA tests.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to catch it early and get it sorted out. The longer you leave it, I could go into, what happens if you leave it and how it spreads and all the rest of it. I don't want to go into that. I just think men need to have a test.
Because there's a Wedmore group, isn't there, that do it? Is it?
Well, this is what the band. Well, I didn't realise this, but we had after I'd gone through all this treatment, I felt I wanted to do something, and I thought about putting my hand in my pocket and saying, "Look, I'll give a couple of grand to Macmillan or something like that." And then, who, by the way, are absolutely excellent. They're really good. They're there for you. I did think about doing that, and then I thought, actually, my mate looked up and he said, "Well, we'll get the band back together. Why don't we get the band back together and do something with the band?" Because a couple of friends of his that he knew had also gone through the same sort of thing. So I said, "Yeah, okay, we'll go for that." I did speak to a couple of nurses and about a couple of the cancer nurses about it, and said, "You know, I want to feel like I want to give some money or raise some money and give it." And they said, don't give it to sort of, because it'll go in the pot and it'll all disappear. You know, if you want to give money, try and target it if you can. Either give it to Macmillan or give it to research or give it something. But, you know, the bigger organisations, it just gets soaked up. Now, maybe she shouldn't have said that to me, I don't know. But so I decided that we would go ahead and try and run this thing in Wedmore and see if we could get a bit of sponsorship. And in theory, if we can, someone's very, very kindly sponsored the village hall. So we're not paying for the village hall. Someone else is paying for that. They sponsored it. We're hoping to get a few barrels of beer sponsored. I've got another couple of sponsors as well that said, "Yeah, we'll chuck 100 quid in," you know. So we're hoping to get the bar for nothing. We've got the village hall for nothing. Great friend of mine who's a DJ, absolutely loves it. And he wants to do the DJ, which is absolutely great. As a band, we've all looked up and said, "Okay, well, we'll do an hour set as well." So we're hoping that every £10 ticket and every pound that goes over the bar is profit. Whether we run a raffle or not, I don't know. So then I started talking to, actually it was Tessa Munt, to be fair. I spoke to Tessa Munt and she said, there is a group in Wedmore.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, there's a group in Wedmore that she knows that get involved in that. So anyway, I spoke to them. They put me in touch with someone else, and he was the head of the prostate awareness or whatever it is. And he said, we'd love your money. A PSA test for a man is £26 for total. You know. We are doing PSA testing in Wedmore Village Hall for 2026. But if you want to ring fence it, we'll do 2027 with your money. So I said, okay, so let's see if we can do £2,600 and do 100 PSA tests. Yeah. So that's what we're aiming for.
That'd be nice.
Yeah,
that's really good.
So we're hoping, that's what we're hoping to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, I knew they had the men's prostate cancer group in Wedmore, and I know they also go to street as well and do it in streets.
Yeah, yeah. This is what the thing is. They tried to get the government to do screening. Now they screen women's breast cancer. They don't screen men's. They don't give PSA tests out willy-nilly. If you go to your doctor, if you ask for it, some doctors will say, yeah, no problem at all. Other doctors are going, why do you think you need it? You know, it's not that they won't give it, but it's almost a little bit of reluctance. A couple of times when I'd asked for it, it's a bit standoffish.
Sorry, did you? I think you said you didn't have any symptoms. Are there common symptoms that people should watch out for, do you think?
There are, peeing a lot.
Right.
Which I do, or I did. But
has that changed?
68-year-olds. Well, I'm 68, you know, come on.
What's more than normal?
Old man syndrome, yeah, of course you do. That probably because of the pressure on your bladder and stuff like that. So there's that. Apart from that, really, there wasn't any other real symptom at all. I didn't see it coming, Ange. I didn't see it coming. I didn't. I just got a phone call from the doctor.
Do you think men, I'm saying to both of you, do you think men tend to be a bit reluctant to go and have it tested?
Absolutely, 100%.
Because?
I'd agree.
I'm gobby, as you know. I don't care what I talk about within reason. I'm quite forward going, and I'll have a laugh with anybody about it. So I will talk about it. If nothing comes out of this podcast or nothing comes out of the dance that we're going to try and sort out in Wedmore, if one person gets diagnosed with it early, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
As I said before, I was extremely, extremely lucky to get away with it. Yeah. It was caught early stages. If it was caught further down the line, it's not a problem. They can deal with it. If it actually breaks out of your prostate, they can still deal with it. They can deal with it right up to the point. Very sadly, my brother, I think, got caught up in COVID a little bit, to be honest with you. He was complaining about some pains. I'm not going to go into it in great detail because it's, you know, it's not personal. Fair on his wife and all the rest of it. But he was complaining to me about aches and pains, and he couldn't understand, you know, like what his legs hurt and stuff like that. And we said, we'll go to the doctor. And then he put it down to COVID. He said, I think it's long COVID. And, you know, and then eventually when he got there, they thought, yeah. So they did his PSA, and his PSA was through the roof. And it had spread, and it got into his hips and got into his bones and that. And they could still treat it. You know, it wasn't curtains or anything like that. They could still deal with it. But sadly, he caught pneumonia in a hospital, and he wasn't strong enough to take the chemotherapy. Or the chemotherapy, possibly, he was a heavy smoker, very, very heavy smoker. That's interesting, because that's one thing they said to me. They said that they were prepared to do the radical radiotherapy on me, which is more pinpoint accurate and all the rest of it, because I didn't smoke, I was relatively fit, and I didn't drink too much, and I wasn't ridiculously overweight.
So which bit were you lying to them about?
All of it. I don't smoke. Used to, years ago. I gave up when I was about 40. No, so, yeah, okay, you know, we all drink too much and we smoke and we eat badly and all the rest of it. But it does make a difference when you come to actually get into medical things. They wouldn't have been prepared to do it if I was overweight.
Right. It's interesting,
Definitely
isn't
not.
it?
So
it is those risks, though, isn't it? It's the risks we take generally, in the sense that if you don't eat properly and you don't exercise properly and you smoke and you drink heavily, you are at a higher risk.
Yeah, of course you are. So, that's why I've just taken another lease out on my workshop and decided I'm not actually going to give up work yet. I'm going to keep
Really?
going. Yeah.
Because I know last time we talked, you said you weren't sure what you were going to do, and it's like...
I think ideally I'd like to drop it. I'm trying a bit of an experiment at the moment. I want to work 1 week on my own cars and then 1 week on customers' cars. And then the week I work on the customers' cars will just about cover the overheads with me pension, because I got me pension. With my state pension, it will probably just about cover the overheads on the workshop, and then I can do my 3-litre Capri and my Triumph Stag and all the rest of the
Will you then
toys
do them up to sell them? Okay, let's change the subject. Roxana, don't listen to this part of the podcast.
Do you know what? If I had a big enough shed, I'd keep them all.
Do you relate to this, Michael?
Maybe a tiny bit.
Mike's got a few cars as well.
Have you? Oh, we must talk later. Do you want some more?
It's funny, though, how you reminisce about cars that you've had that you'd quite like to have again, if you see what I'm saying. And it's like, oh, dear. And I can see you reliving your youth.
I had a 3-litre Capri when I met Roxana. Well, just after I met Roxana, I bought a 3-litre Capri. And we had some fun in that car. You know, I don't want to get into too much about... you know, coming out of the pub late at night after a few beers and driving home and all the rest of it. But the local copper did say to me about 20 years ago, he said, the trouble with you and your mate, he said, your mate had knee type, you had a 3-litre Capri, and all we had was Escort vans. We had your cards marked. You don't know how lucky you were.
Can't catch you, though.
Yeah, so I actually found a 3-litre Capri the other day. I bought a Triumph Stag, and I've just restored a Triumph Stag, and it's a beautiful car, really, really nice car.
How old is it?
E8, 1978. Plan was I couldn't find a 3-litre Capri because they are just skyrocketing in price, and even scrap ones are making stupid money. So I did the Triumph Stag, and I love the Stag. I think the Stag's absolutely a beautiful car. And then all of a sudden pops up on Facebook Marketplace in Cornwall, 3-litre Capri. So I had to do a lot of soul searching, and I thought, and I'd spoke to Roxanne, and she did give me permission, bless her. And she said, it's one, you've always been looking for one, because I buy and sell classic cars as well, but one to keep, you know. Yeah. So so I went down to Cornwall and I bought it, and it's been done in the workshop at the moment. Will I sell the Stag afterwards? I really like the Stag, and it's convertible, but how many cars do you want? You know, like I say, it's all about keeping them. I've got 9 at the moment.
Oh, wow.
But a Triumph Stag, just a little memory for me. My nan, who took years to pass her driving test and used to drive illegally, she used to take me out at night when my granddad wasn't around. And she used to drive the Triumph Stags in London,
Yeah.
before they got polished. So she'd drive them from wherever she picked them up.
Covered in the grease.
Yeah, then we'd go and drop them off at this place, and then she'd go and pick them up and take them back to somewhere else or the showrooms or something like that. And I remember it, and she had this beautiful green, almost the same colour as my kitchen, Triumph Stag. It was one of the cars that I remember. She used to do it with loads of different cars, but that was my favourite car at that time.
It's sad. They got such a bad reputation when they came out because they were poorly finished off. It was a beautiful design, Michelotti design, Italian design, a beautiful looking car. It was brought out to, I don't want to bore you about cars.
Go on.
Okay, all right. It was brought out to sell in America, really, for the American market, and it was going up against the Mercedes convertible. In my opinion, if the car had been finished off properly, it would have been better than the Mercedes convertible. The SL, it is a beautiful car, but it had problems. It was during the strikes and the British Leyland thing back in the 70s and that, and the cars weren't finished off. They were coming out of the factory and going to the dealers with casting sand in the engine blocks, and they were overheating. They were causing all sorts of problems. And after about 18 months, the Americans said, we don't want them. Because they're causing problems. So they sold them in this country, and I think they only sold about 25,000, which is not a lot.
It's very small number.
But
really.
The bizarre thing is, I think I'm right in saying that there is more than half of them still on the road.
Wow.
Because,
incredible.
Well, I think people bought them. They were frightened to death of the engines because the engines were a bit of a pain, to be honest with you. But once they're sorted, they are really good. They're a nice car to drive. They're quite powerful. They're a beautiful thing to drive. And I think once they're sorted out, they really are a nice car. And I think what happened was a lot of them came back in engine problems, and they shoved them back in sheds. And now they're starting to come out and they're going back on the road. And they're on the way up. They've always been there. They've always been not the cheapest of sports cars, but they're price-wise, they're on the way up.
So yours is a Capri, your favourite. What's yours?
I've got a Ford Mustang, 1964. Yeah, first generation.
We really do need to have a chat.
We do.
Yeah, nice one. What model is it?
So it's a coupe.
Yeah.
So it's not a fastback. I bought it in COVID as a bit of a hobby project, and done quite a lot to it. To be fair, it still needs more doing, but it's money and time. Isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm not particularly mechanically orientated, but. Yeah, they're great, absolutely great cars.
6 or 8 cylinder?
It's a 8-cylinder.
It is 8 cylinder. Yeah, that's the one to have. So would he be a Razorback? Is that what he calls it?
No, so it is like it's the coupe back. So it kind of slopes down, but it's not the Razorback.
Is he left-hand drive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Automatic as well.
All right, okay.
Manual, very, very, very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Tell you a funny story about those Mustangs. Well, a lot of American cars, when they came into the country, they were left-hand drive. But the Americans decided that they would convert some of them to right-hand drive. So they basically used a bicycle chain from the steering box to the...
Is that right?
Yeah.
Just to go to the side?
To get them right-hand drive.
Wow.
Not a good idea.
I bet it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Colour?
Red.
Red.
Yeah, it's got to be red.
Yeah.
Mustang red.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Rangoon red, I think, is the correct.
Chuck Berry on the tape player?
What's a tape player?
Well, saying that, I've just changed my car to.
8-track,
I've got an Apple, 8-track. I remember, but I've just put Apple Play in my car. I'm quite pleased about that.
Well, I've got this Capri. The radio in the Capri is the original Ford radio. Wow. I can send it off, and I can get it changed to Bluetooth from my phone. So I can actually keep the fascia of the radio in there, and I can get it so I can use my Spotify off my phone.
I've looked at doing that on mine as well.
That's what I'm going to do.
It's quite expensive.
It is, but it's a good. Why carry CDs and stuff like I love vinyl and stuff like that. But why Spotify's marvelous.
It is. It's just easy to use. Isn't
I've got 1,000 downloads on my Spotify now. on my like list. Yeah, most of it's set.
I can't be bothered. I can't be asked. I've got it because we've got it. Dave and I have got it, but
I got it all the time. I think it's about £10 a month or something like that. It's a little bit more than that, maybe. And I just listen to it all the time.
no, I don't do any of that. Not interested at all. Right, I think we've probably talked enough. We've taken enough of your time.
Yeah,
so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's been really good.
No problem.
We'll have you back again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You can tell us some more stories.
You can edit it all out now.
No, we don't. It does it automatically.